welcome to the CollabCast again. Here with Micah, who is raring to go. Katie's here as always, or sometimes, or most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Yep.
Katie and I are friends now. We have met once before, and now we're finally talking, and friendships are born.
Yes, connections are made.
Hallelujah.
That's a Elastica song.
Is it? I don't know what Elastica is.
Neither.
Like the guy, never mind. It was a Budweiser commercial for a long time, but she dated she was married to Damon Albarn from Blur.
I have no idea.
And anyway, the connection is made. No? All right. So anyway, it's been...
David King.
You were one of my favorite guests from earlier this year.
Thank
the year
you.
is wrapping up. It's been a big, crazy year for film, and especially for you.
Yeah.
There are secret things that you absolutely cannot talk about,
Cannot.
and we're not going to talk about them.
No.
But
we can excitedly giggle about it.
But last time you were
each
here, was because you had a film premiere on the El Rey network.
On television.
Yep.
Yes.
And
LTV, as they call it.
for folks who don't know, your film work is just, most recent stuff is all about action.
Yeah.
It's very physical. The camera angles are pretty great. They just capture all the kinetic energy and whatnot.
Thank you.
Which obviously also radiates off of you most of the time.
I try. I've been described as kinetic energy before.
So last year, I believe this was before Game of Thrones ended. Yeah. It was before, or the final season. It was before most of the big entertainment of the year dropped.
Right.
It was before all the film festivals, I think, that you attended.
Yes.
So it's been a crazy year. And I want to get your sense on obviously you have something big that you can't talk about. So it's been a good year.
It's been a great year. And 2020 is going to be even better. I'm very excited about it.
But what did you take away? You spent a lot of time at different film festivals. I know you think a lot about how stuff is being put out there and processed, and the way Hollywood is. So what's your takeaway?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned this year was in my friend group, I'm known as the guy who critiques films the most, but ultimately am very passionate about hating movies. But this year, I went to Austin Film Festival and I heard Shane Black speak, and it's a very paraphrased version of what he said, but basically is it's very hard making movies, and most people that are making movies are good people, and to just let go of that hate, because I held on to it for so long. And I realized that for me it was always from a place of insecurity about me succeeding in this career, or just fear of the unknown, right? All that fear comes from that, all that hate comes from some source of fear. So that's the biggest thing, is just letting go of that fear of being super passionate about hating things. I get it. I was very entertaining when I did it, but it was not. It came from a place of fear, and I'm just ready to let go of it all.
Well, when you get involved, and now you're very intimately involved in how the system works and things like that, there's a budget, there's deadlines, there are these real constraints on things, and things that are higher and out of your control.
Yeah.
So that, I think lots of us, when we get into things and making things, realize that it's different than when you're on the outside. Why do you do this? And
it is so hard to make something good.
Yeah.
So that even now, unless you're purposely going out of your way to make something bad, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna have fun with it. It's actually been it's made life a lot more fun, because I can just watch movies again without just being oh, that's a bad line, that's bad structure right there. And so that's how I feel about it, at least.
I've gone through a thing with my daughter this year where we'll be watching something and she'll be like, what's going to happen next? Because I'm always oh, clearly this is going to happen, and clearly they're foreshadowing this.
Right.
And I'm
she doesn't know that.
Yeah, and
David.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Don't make her jaded.
That made me realize that it was time to shut up and let her watch whatever.
She can learn the hero's journey in due time, sir.
Yes.
It's the people who watch episodes of Criminal Minds or something. I know exactly who did this.
Actually, I already know who the murderer is.
At the very beginning, and it's all right, whatever. You're taking all the fun out of it.
It's the guy who watches Scooby-Doo and is it's actually the first person they introduced. So Scooby-Doo's conditioned us to know. That's all.
Yeah, it's
We're
true.
All crime solvers. That's why I'm pretty sure Scooby-Doo's the reason why we all love true crime podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's completely fair. Yeah.
And my daughter doesn't know who Scooby-Doo is. Yeah, it's like, it's not in
We're
this
the old
generation.
people
Past
now.
her, yeah.
Well, no, it's been, I mean, you know, like they
been
brought it
redone
back.
and
Yeah.
redone.
It's just, there isn't an iteration right now.
Right.
So it's understandable. Whatever.
Yeah, there's no like good creepy shows for kids anymore. I was talking about this recently with Nadine, who writes like our dance columns, because she's been getting into Adventure Time with Nick from Chromoscope, and I was like, oh well, have you heard, like, she's like going back and watching like Powerpuff Girls, like they're getting into all these old Nickelodeon shows. I'm like, yeah, like we missed out, like we don't have those like creepy characters anymore where like Courage the Cowardly Dog would like deeply disturb you like to your core, and then you're like going on with your day, and then it was just like
Courage was very disturbing.
very intense.
Oh my god,
and I loved it. I couldn't get enough
I
of it.
constantly quote Return the Slab. Like I like no, she's like, no, don't bring it up. She's actually emotionally scarred from it. And like Courage the Cowardly, and then most recently Cartoon Network made a show called Over the Garden Wall. Have you guys seen Over the
I've
Garden?
heard of it, but I
it's
haven't
one of my
watched it.
favorite shows of all time. It is. She's geeking out over there. Look how red she got. Like, cause that's how good that show is. Like, that's passion right there. You can't buy that passion.
We've got to get a Katie camera.
You need a Katie cam.
Not-
You do need a
Katie cam. You have to put the cam as a K,
Yeah.
just to be that annoying. You know.
There is another Katie in the room, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's not just me.
Yeah.
You know, there's a billion.
Yes.
Of us
Oh
out
yeah. I
there.
guess people wouldn't know that. So sorry. Over the Garden Wall, though, if you
Yeah.
guys get a chance, it's like a super wonderful TV show. It's only 2 hours long. It's basically, they're like 11-minute episodes. They're 12-minute episodes. There's about 10 episodes. It will change you. That's all I'm
Nice.
saying. I'm not gonna hype it up too much, but
Love that.
it's beautiful.
I wanted to talk about the Marriage Story and the. Oh
I
well.
haven't seen Marriage Story
Yeah,
yet.
well, it was all right. No, I mean, like, it would be all right if you hadn't
Oh,
seen
okay.
it.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in that movie. Those movies make me uncomfortable.
Right. I think that's mostly the point.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I can't speak on it. But Noah Baumbach loves to be like, this is real life, and real life is a horror movie. And I'm like,
Well, like, I like Squid and the Whale.
Yeah.
Because it spoke to my child in some ways and, like, my parents. And,
I like
and-
Mistress America. I
but-
thought that was a really great movie. Lola Kirk is amazing in it, and I love Greta Gerwig. So
Well, this one starts out more like Squid and the Whale. It has a more human feeling to it, where it's not like, I'm just going to tell you how awful everything is.
Yeah.
But the problem for me was that, like, he's a MacArthur Grant winning playwright in New York City, and she's a Hollywood actress who blah, blah, blah. And suddenly it becomes like,
fun, relatable.
yeah,
Yeah.
completely unrelatable. Exactly. So at first it's like the most basic, like, you know, like these two people with this very relatable relationship. And then it's suddenly like, no.
We're
this-
actually
Yeah.
super successful.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
And then I stopped. So, yeah. And I'm a big fan of Noah Baumbach. So that was
Yeah,
fun.
I'm a fan too, you know, and I'm excited to see. I wasn't a very big fan of Lady Bird because I
Yeah.
liked. I really
love
liked
that
one
movie.
part of that movie, but then the rest of it fell into a very tropey like
Yeah.
high school movie.
That's how I
think.
felt.
But like the part that I loved was the mother-daughter relationship, because you don't see that often in movies. You don't see that like relationship between mothers and daughters, and
the
and
very
that truthful,
complicated aspect
right?
of
Like in
it,
that
yeah.
and how complicated. And I thought it was so beautiful, but then you get into like she wants to date the guy, and then she abandons her best friend, and I'm like, that's all stuff I've seen before.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
it was
it's not a
also,
negative
like,
criticism. Like
I think it's so much of like young women trying to like identify
Right.
what they want and like what a partner is and like
Yeah.
who fits the person that you always thought it would be.
That's a good
and
point,
it's like
yeah.
and then it's like, okay, I'm trying this out and like I think it's gonna be like this, and it's this constant thing where like young women are told this very romantic story, and
Right.
then men are like raised in a very different way where it's like I can be whatever I want and you're just kind of like in my life, and she's like figuring that out.
Yeah.
Like it was like I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, I gotta watch it again now with that perspective. See, this is why I love talking to people.
Yeah.
You always learn something new. But like that's never. I never thought about it from that perspective of like she's seeing it as a narrative that she has to follow.
Oh yeah.
Oh damn, that
It's
changes
very
that
much
whole
of,
movie
like,
for me.
She's decided she's gonna be this person, like I'm Lady Bird, and it's
Yeah.
like, and then she's trying to, yeah.
Dude, this changed this whole movie for me. I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
Wow. I never put those two.
Definitely.
Wow, I feel dumb right now, but it's great.
This is what
You learn
conversations
something
are
new on the
for.
collaborative podcast, guys.
You do. That's gonna be our catchphrase,
I love it.
or what's it called? Not
Oh
a
wait, I guess
catchphrase.
it's a yeah.
Like a what is it called?
Tagline.
Thank you, Katie. Jesus.
Wow, I never thought about that. Well,
Tagline.
I was gonna say I'm still regardless. I'm excited to see Little Women because I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how Greta Gerwig grows as a filmmaker because she clearly knows how to write. You know,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see whatever she does next. And what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Well, we were talking about
like-
Noah Baumbach.
Noah
but
Baumbach.
we can move on.
They're married. That's why
Yes,
the
they are.
correlation is
Oh,
made.
okay.
But like, you know what? It's so funny to think back. That like, what was it? I don't know. 6 years ago, she was starring with Russell Brand in the Arthur remake.
Oh yeah, I forgot
We
about
go
that.
from like her going from mumblecore
yeah.
What a
movies
weird-
to bad comedy to like, or I don't know,
forgot about
middling
that movie
comedy.
in
What
general.
a
Yeah.
weird time where like Russell Brand kind of dominated our lives.
Yeah,
You know
like
what
Get
I
Him to the
mean?
Greek. Forgetting Sarah Marshall is like one of my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, I like
movies.
Get Him to the Greek.
Yeah,
Me too.
Russell
anyway.
Brand.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
he's just the Messiah now.
Yep, he's the
Yeah.
Messiah, full time podcast
God,
Messiah.
He's just Jesus now.
Like on Instagram.
Good for him.
So
Instagram
bizarre.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russell Brand, Instagram Jesus.
It's the Jesus. This is the Jesus of our time. Wow. Wow. Everything's connected, man.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So what you had that takeaway from Austin,
Yeah.
and I know you went to Adirondack Film
I
Festival.
love Adirondack Film Festival.
Yeah. So what was your experience like as a filmmaker?
You guys were there, weren't you? Were you guys?
We didn't in the end.
No.
There were certain things that
The complications. I get
Yes.
it. Yeah. For me, Adirondack Film Festival, the reason why I love it is that it's about, like, yes, the town shows up. First of all, they're very excited to meet filmmakers and talk about movies, but also like they treat filmmakers like they're actually people. A lot of film festivals do not. They just like, all right, you're a number. You're a body. Thank you for your film. Now let us do our thing, and maybe you stand on the sideline. But like they treat filmmakers really well. They throw really great parties for filmmakers. They introduce people, and for me that's really important because when I go to a film festival, I want to talk to people. I don't care for the panelists. I don't care for who's gonna like the person who's like above my career. I want to talk to the people who are next to me. Like I want to help them. I want to like I enjoy talking to filmmakers. I love seeing people's passion when they talk, and I think that Adirondack brings the best out of people, especially with filmmakers. It makes them feel like they actually matter, and I think that's really important with filmmakers is to actually feel like people care. Because a lot of film festivals they're kind of a racket. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's only 2 film festivals I like right now: Austin Film Festival and Adirondack Film Festival, and I don't really care for any other ones. They've all been bad experiences to me, and submissions are open for Adirondack Film Festival. Plug.
have you been meeting more folks since you've been getting more local filmmakers? Have you this year? Have you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's I'm gonna do a quick shout outs. Ready for this, guys? We're gonna do a female filmmaker Friday. Ready? It's Friday, right?
Oh my god, it is.
Oh my god.
That was
Female
perfect.
filmmaker Friday. First and foremost, I'd like to shout out Victoria Diana. I have the distinct pleasure of dating this woman, and also
conflicts.
the distinct pleasure of knowing that she's one of the best writers I've ever met. And she just wrote an amazing short film called The Mother's Love that we just took to the Northeast Filmmakers Lab in Albany, which was fantastic. The short film is a mix between Get Out and Rosemary's Baby. It is wonderfully written, and if you get a chance, follow her. Find out what she's doing with it. The people at Northeast Filmmakers Lab went crazy about it because it's really well written. I'm like super proud about it because I'm just like, yo, this is good.
What is that process like now that she's there?
At the lab?
Yeah.
The lab, so the Filmmakers Lab is what you do is you go up and you pitch your project in front of a group of mentors, and then you have one-on-one meetings with those mentors and you talk about it. There's producers there, there's writers, there's every facet of the industry is there basically, and it's a very good room. And again, it's a great gathering of filmmakers, right? Like you meet people that you absolutely like. I mean, I met so many filmmakers at the lab that I'm like, I want to work with you guys at some point. So the lab for her was to get somebody interested in making the short film, and I think that we've got that now. We're going to film it here in Schenectady, which I'm really excited about. And it's really killer. Honestly, it's a killer short film, and I'm sure we're going to get some name actor in it, which is going to be very cool. We have not gotten a yes yet, but it's going to happen because it's great. But yeah, and then I don't know. I'm excited. Like Mother's Love is a crazy short film. She's writing this feature right now too. Okay. So it's gonna blow you all away. I promise. Fantastic. And then if I can continue my female filmmaker Friday.
As you should.
Female. I'd love to give a shout out to Catherine Fordham. I met her at Adirondack Film Festival this past year. She made a short film called Kaya, which is about a girl looking for her sister that has been suffered from human trafficking, and it is wonderful. It is. When I watched it, it blew me away. I was like, dude, why aren't you in the big leagues? Like, you do not deserve to be anywhere near us. Like, go. So if anybody on this podcast is listening from Hollywood, please hire her.
I read a bit about this in the lead up to the film festival, and it did seem like one of the standouts compared to. There were a number of
killer, no pun intended. It's an action film. Sorry. And then I'm so sorry if I mess up her name because I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I still call you David Kiang, so.
So did my French teacher.
I met a filmmaker at Adirondack a few years ago named Kristen Garlago. I believe that's her name. Oh my God, I'm so sorry if it's not. But she recently just made a short film called Concealer, and she made it as a partnership with Amazon Fire TV. And so you can watch it on there, but most importantly, you can watch her entire process from directing to starring and like being and creating the whole short film, which I really suggest that if you're a filmmaker out there to watch it, because it's amazing. She's a hustler. She's constantly working. Fourth, I'm gonna do 5 because female filmmaker 5. That makes sense to me. 4, there's a local filmmaker named Michelle Polaczynski. I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name, but she's been working on a documentary called Phlox, which is about fluoroquinolone toxicity. Reach out to her because it's a crazy documentary about like the disabling side effects of antibiotics. You guys should totally check it out. She's a local filmmaker. She's from right here. You can find her on Facebook on Phlox Doc, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
I know a bit about this. Actually.
You do?
Yeah. I had a terrible reaction to antibiotics once.
Was it Cipro?
Well, it was, but it wasn't the.
It's all connected, man.
It wasn't the.
Goes all the way to the top.
It wasn't like the like the
fluoroquinolone toxicity.
Well, it didn't have to do with them, like the nerves. Like some people have really bad nerve reactions. It was a stomach thing.
Yeah.
But so I did a bunch of research, and it's not like. It's well known, you know, but a lot of people don't make a big deal out of it. So it's not like mysticism or like sort of the BS. It's true. The stuff is very powerful, and it can
disable you. Yeah. There's a lot of crazy side effects to it. Your body can go numb. You can tear a tendon. I don't know. She's talked about tendons. She's talked to me about it constantly, and it terrifies me. But also, I think it's really important to know, like, if your doctor prescribes something like this, is like it's crazy. She'll talk to you for days about it, and please at some point invite her on the podcast because she's a brilliant person. And then lastly, I love to give a shout out to Nicole Quinn. I don't know what Nicole's working on right now because I met her at the Film Albany event, and she was on the panel with me, but she's just a bundle of joy. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because I miss her and she's dope. And I don't know what she's working on, but she has a book. Plug. Ba-bam. It's a Nightmare by Nicole Quinn. Check it out.
I really like that cover.
I know. You like Nicole too. Should get her on the podcast. It's a screen grab.
Yeah.
On the note of female filmmakers, let's talk about Hustlers real quick. Because
I
Hustlers was my
haven't seen
favorite movie this year, even though people have disagreed with me. But I will disagree with them because that movie is fantastic and is super well directed.
Who was the director?
I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but I know it's Lauren Scaffaria. Oh my god, I'm the worst. But yes, she did Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, which
Yep.
I loved that movie. And then she did The Meddler with, I'm in IMDb. Holy crap.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
That's fantastic.
She did The Meddler starring Susan Sarandon and J.K. Simmons. And I just think she's wonderful. I think that she directed the shit out of that movie. It's the best Martin Scorsese film not directed by Martin Scorsese. And then you find out that she wrote it for Martin Scorsese, and then he decided not to make the movie, and then she directed it. It makes sense. Go watch it.
That's a backhanded diss
Out
at the
on Blu-ray
Joker.
now. Well,
It's a backhanded diss at the Joker.
I haven't seen it because
Me
I'm not.
either.
I don't care for Sad White Boy the movie.
It was not a good
Yeah.
I just don't care.
It was not good.
It's just I just don't give a shit, man.
Yep.
Oh my god. What
Perfect.
I don't
Yeah.
need it. Sorry, I told myself that I'd let go of the hate. But what the fuck did we do?
It's fine.
I just don't.
No.
Everyone's asked me and they're like, "Have you seen Joker? It's amazing." I don't care.
Not true. It was not
Because it's
amazing.
first of all, and every film person I know hates me for saying this. I did not like Taxi Driver. I don't think it's a good movie. I think that it's about a psycho and it inspired a real life person to shoot a president. I don't care. And then King of Comedy, people are like, oh, Todd Phillips took inspiration from Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. He just put the two movies
He did.
together.
He did, and then he added like a couple.
And
like,
then he put a Joker face paint on it
Yeah.
and goes, look, a movie.
There's a scene with like Bruce Wayne, or not Bruce Wayne, but like his dad or whatever, and it's just like it feels tacked on, and I feel the worst for Zoe Saldana. Who not
No.
Zoe Saldana? No, I'm sorry, I'm
Oh
awful.
my gosh.
Zazie Beetz.
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, who was. She's a great actress, and she's just there as like a scene dressing.
You know, that pisses me off because like I really like the Creed movies and Tessa Thompson should not be in them. She's far too good for those. Like for that little like I'm supportive of you, babe. No, what the
I started
fuck?
2 the other day because it was on
Creed
Amazon.
2 is amazing.
Well, I started
but
it,
why
but it got
is
to
she
that
in
point
it?
where he's proposing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Why are you marrying him, first of
Yeah.
all? And two, why are you in this movie, Tessa Thompson? Jesus. Anyway, Sorry to Bother You. Have you guys seen that?
I love that.
I love
movie.
Sorry to
I
Bother
just
You.
saw it for the first time like a few weeks
How
ago because
crazy.
like I just like had never. I don't think there was anywhere around here that was showing it.
I
too.
played very briefly.
Yeah.
Very briefly. Like one weekend, it played
I
at
love that
Crossroads.
movie.
It was so
Fantastic.
good. Oh my god! And people still don't know about it, which
I
is
think
insane.
it's like beautiful. Like I love movies that use like really beautiful lighting.
yes,
Like, and I think the whole thing was like so nice to watch and pleasant.
it looked beautiful, but also the metaphors were beautifully done, and they were so absurdist that you're like, I'm in. I don't care.
I was there for
Every second of it, yeah.
I was like, do something even weirder.
Go, and they
I'm
did,
ready.
and
Yeah.
they did. I'm not gonna spoil it, but they went so weird. And the second they went weird, I stood up in the theater. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, it's like sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I accept this fully.
I want to talk about
my
it so
God.
bad, but please, if you guys get a
Yeah.
chance, it's on Hulu right now, right?
Yeah,
watch it,
something.
please?
Yeah,
Please.
it's great.
And then
And I love
then-
him so much.
Yeah, Lakeith Stanton, I love. No,
Now I'm like literally blanking on his name. I'm the opposite of IMDb,
Nobody
where I literally the main actor.
Lakeith Stanton.
yeah.
He's in Atlanta as well.
Yeah. Oh my
he's
God.
so
Oh,
good.
yeah.
He's in Get
Yeah.
Out. He's got a brief role in Get Out. Sorry. IMDb. I apologize.
Yeah.
I like the list.
He's got
out
the
entire-
eyes.
I want to work with that guy so bad
Oh my
one
God,
day.
he's
Like, he's one of my
fantastic.
favorite actors. I think him and Daniel Kaluuya. Oh my God. The guy from Get Out.
Yeah.
They're so good. Why aren't they in everything?
So I had to go see Frozen 2
Why?
because I have a daughter, a 5-year-old. But man, it's so bad. But the actor from he played the dude
Paperboy.
Huh?
Paperboy?
No, in
No.
OJ,
No.
in the OJ movie, the series, Chris Darden.
Thank you.
Sterling K. Brown. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can we just cast him as Superman because he's charming as shit? Come on. Sorry, I'm
It
a big
was
fan of Sterling
so
K. Brown
good
too.
as like it just was better movie because he was.
Can I
like,
curse on this podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Oh my God. Sorry.
It's just a better movie because he was there.
Yeah.
And it was like the rest. The animation actually had to fit his mouth because the way he expresses himself is
Right.
so distinct. It's just,
Have you guys seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Have you seen the episode with Sterling K. Brown in it, The Box?
I don't
It is the best episode of like not just television, but like of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And he gives an Oscar-worthy performance in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I'm like, yo, why didn't he get nominated? You've seen it. He's so good in it, right?
It was such a good episode.
How good is he in it? And it's all in one area. It's like it's super well directed. It's like, why does this exist?
Yeah.
Like,
Andy Samberg gave it to us.
yes. And I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine too. So
It's so
I'm a big
good.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine
Yeah.
fan.
Speaking of like non-sad white boy things, I was telling Katie the other day, I started watching Watchmen like hesitantly,
Which is the opposite of sad white boy.
yes, and I got to episode 6, and I think it's the best episode of TV this.
I'm not
year.
there yet. I'm on episode 5.
Okay, well I'll tell you, episode 6 like almost changed my life.
Have you seen Watchmen yet? Even if you're not a fan of like the
Yeah.
comic books or the comic, or the comic or the movie,
Yeah.
it's so well directed. Like,
But,
shout out to Nicole Castle if you're ever listening to this. Oh my God, you killed it, girl.
Episode 6 though is like it's beyond anything else in the entire season.
Yeah,
because
I'm so excited.
It's almost like something from Birdman in that it just keeps
I didn't like
running.
Birdman.
Well, it's like the continuous shot.
You get it.
Yeah.
It's the continuous shot and the jazz soundtrack, and it's all in black and white, and it's like a
I'm ready
perfect
for it.
television
I'm ready
episode.
for it. I'm so ready for it.
yeah.
I love it. It is one of the best shows I've ever seen so far.
It's radical. I mean,
It's-
episode 6 is radical and subversive, like
Yeah.
to an extent I couldn't believe
And
it.
people are mad about it because they're like, it's political. I'm like,
Yeah,
have
no
you read the comics?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure the whole thing is political. Like, it's literally commentary after commentary after like, what? Oh, you just look for the costumes? Is that what you're looking for? The pretty costumes?
Yeah,
No.
it's deeply political, and that's
Oh
why
my
it
God.
matters.
Some
That's
people
why it's
do.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's why
And-
Marvel's so popular.
Yeah. Let's not get into Scorsese Marvel right now. We can talk about Irishman though.
Yeah,
How'd you guys
yeah.
feel about Irishman? Did you just
Seen
you
it.
didn't see it?
I went
Watch
to
it
the
as a
theater to see
miniseries.
it.
Like
Okay.
take it in chunks.
That's what everyone keeps saying.
It's a pretty hard watch.
I went to
it's
the
not
theater.
hard.
I saw it in the theater. I thought it
Really?
actually flew by, and then I went home to watch it. My wife wanted to see it, and we started, and we are gonna have to watch it in parts. But
Yeah, I could see like, okay, so I went and saw Lawrence of Arabia in theaters like a few months ago, and it was a 4-hour movie, and I'm like, all right, fine, I could do it in the theater. At home,
Yeah.
there's
You
too
got
many things to
things.
do, and I
Yeah.
feel like I have to work all the time. Like I work from
Yeah.
home, so it's like I'm like, do I really have the time for 3.5 hours? And meanwhile, I binge watch Downton
Right,
Abbey
right.
this week. So I binge watched the whole season 3 of Downton Abbey, and I'm like, oh my God, what's gonna happen to the Crawleys now? Sorry, I'm a big fan of TV, man. I love.
When's that movie? It's coming out on Christmas, or
It-
did it already come out?
I thought it
on
already came
Thanksgiving,
out. I think, yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
already gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It was made for it's a specific
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
It's the people who love Downton Abbey. I'm excited because I'm gonna get through season 4 this week probably. After I finish Watchmen, and then I'm excited to see what happens to the Crawleys. And
Yeah.
season 3 broke me, so I need a little break. That's why I'm watching Watchmen right now. She's laughing. I love it. I love your reactions. Oh my God. Why aren't you on this show? Just
I
stay
know,
in the
it's a great
background.
question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just love how you're like, oh,
We'll just-
season 3 broke me because I know what happened.
Yeah, you know, you get it. You get it.
Why is that rated?
Season 3
Watch
broke me
Watchmen?
so hard.
Yeah.
It hurt me.
so, what was your take on Irishman?
Irishman, I thought the first hour is dreadfully slow. And then when Hoffa comes in, it flies by. That's my only opinion, other than I thought De Niro was terrible in it. I think De Niro. The problem with de-aging, right? Like, de-aging is the stupidest thing to me. Because
oh, right.
the
I heard that
like,
they did that.
I hate it.
So
I hadn't
dumb.
know. People pointed out that they gave him blue eyes. Through, like,
They did.
And I didn't
They
even
made him
notice.
Irish.
Yeah, I should have. Right. No, but like I should have picked up
Right.
on that.
Oh my God.
As someone with blue eyes, how do you feel with
I,
that?
you know, I don't appreciate when people taking advantage of like that.
This is a crime against blue-eyed people, and I will not stand
That's
for
so
it.
ridiculous.
I just okay.
It's wild.
You've seen it. This is a spoiler. Anybody watching,
It's
close
fine.
close
I
your
get
ears,
it.
close your
Yeah.
eyes. when he finds out that the guy in the store hit his daughter, right? And he goes over and beats the crap out of him. He's moving around like an 80-year-old man.
Oh, absolutely.
You want me to believe
that really does
that
stick
guy?
out.
That
he
guy
can't move his arms and his feet
and the
at
whole
the same
thing,
time.
like he shakes like an old man. Like what?
Wild.
This is dumb. Like
That did stand out. Yeah.
I would say like the thing is like my girlfriend and I both watched it and like together, and the biggest criticism we had was that De Niro kept taking us out of the movie because he didn't feel like a young person. He didn't have that energy. Whereas Joe Pesci killed it. That man. Oh, first of all, Joe Pesci. Let's just talk about Joe Pesci for just one hot second. Wow. That's all I want to say. Joe Pesci in that movie, he brought it. And if you listen to behind the scenes on it, he's like, yeah, I made every scene with different energy of different ages, and like he really took it seriously. Don't know why De Niro didn't. I don't get it.
Well, I don't know that De Niro has ever like.
I don't think De Niro's ever tried. I think he just acts. He's like Samuel L. Jackson, right? He's got very limited range, but like they can do it.
One of the things they talk up about this movie is that, and I read this interview with De Niro and Pacino.
Yeah.
But it's him in real life.
Yeah.
This guy who doesn't want to say much, who doesn't know how to express himself. The whole Pacino interview was Pacino De Niro interview was Pacino making sure that he didn't have to say anything,
right?
Because De Niro didn't want to say anything.
Well,
it was just really weird. But that's the character.
But like even the scene when he's in like the meat packing place in his hand, like he's like opening letters, and I'm like, he's opening like an old man does. You want me to believe you're 30, 40? I don't believe it.
Why did they?
I don't think
for the whole movie.
But if you really think about it,
because it flashes back and
That's
forth.
right.
so weird.
Think about this for just a second. De Niro's whole career was made by Godfather Part 2, where he played a younger Marlon Brando, right? Like if they had like, as I'm assuming, like imagine Godfather Part 2 came out now and they just de-aged Marlon Brando. Like you would not have a career. Just cast a kid who looks like De Niro, younger. Give the kid a career. Get over yourself.
What I enjoy,
I can believe it. Just cut to show me a close up. Like everyone does it. Show me a close up of the young guy's face, then cut to De Niro. Oh, that's the guy when he's older. I get it. I'm not stupid.
What I did enjoy about the movie, and what is so
it's
irksome
true.
about it, is that I did really enjoy the Bobby Cannavale. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was another guy from Boardwalk Empire who played Capone, who plays the Provenzano in it.
Probably, yeah.
And they're these young actors who fit
Tony Pro.
Yeah, who fit that sort of role. And I'm like, they would be great in a Scorsese flick. I mean, that was a Scorsese produced show, but so it was good to see them used.
Right.
But it's also like they could have just played the main character.
Right. It's like
give someone a chance.
Yeah, 100%. They could have played the main characters. It's just like it's just dumb. It's dumb on dumb is what it comes down to. Like it's I didn't like the de-aging. I just don't care for it. I think it's the dumbest thing you could possibly
so
do. Like just
distracting.
cast like so the actual opposite of that came out this year. Did you guys see Dr. Sleep?
I haven't yet. I
Dr.
want
Sleep
to.
was, first of all, wonderful. And two, have you guys seen The Shining? Obviously. So, like, a lot of the characters from The Shining come back in this, right? And they could have, Shelley Duvall's character comes back, and they could have easily, like, CGI'd over an actress's face, made her look like Shelley Duvall, but they didn't. And they got actors that kind of looked like them, but they got the acting down, right? And so for me, like, I'm like, oh, it's that character. I didn't think, oh, it's another actress playing it. It's the character, right? It's less distracting. And like for me, if you take me out of the movie, I am out of the movie. You have to earn me back in.
Yeah.
Whereas Dr. Sleep did it wonderfully, where they cast actors who can play those characters, who look just enough like them, but they can like physically do the. I'm like, to me, it's not like, oh, it's a different actress playing it. Oh, it's the same character.
Yeah,
it takes a second for my brain to click it instead of going, De Niro's a younger person and they de-aged him and this whole thing. Like
at no point when I started thinking the best they got him down to was maybe 45, 50. But then I realized he's supposed to be 30.
Yeah.
Like the initial interaction with him and Pesci at the gas station.
It hurts.
Yeah, at the gas, when he's the truck.
Oh, yeah, especially the gas
And I'm
station
like-
scene. That was so... Oh, I'm getting a headache from just thinking about it.
Anyway.
Like that... Again, like Dr. Sleep did it wonderfully. I think that they it's the thing is like it's why like time is a currency, right? Like Will Smith said this is like,
Yep.
they don't. It's a currency. They don't. That's why they call it paying attention or spending time, right? Like you have to earn my time when it comes to movies. That's why sometimes I don't even sit through 10 minutes of a movie if it doesn't get me. Like,
Ten minute
Only Will
test.
Smith.
yeah,
looked the scripts
10-minute
a little bit
test.
more.
Like, please get me in 10 minutes or I'm not going to watch your movie. I'm sorry. Like, I cannot. I've too much time to not. I have plenty of other stuff I can watch.
There's
you know,
so much content
Right.
out there. It's like
right. And then like for Irishman, I gave it a pass because it's a Scorsese film, because of the legacy that comes with a Scorsese film. Had that been anybody else, I would have stopped watching.
Yeah, I mean, there's a language that I was taught very early on in life by watching Scorsese movies,
Right.
and to come back to it is extremely familiar
Right.
and comforting.
Right.
And it's like, well, this is good because I've grown up with it.
I did joke that it's basically a Marvel movie. People who know gangster canon, like it's
Yeah.
like everyone's in it. She
That's
laughed.
what it-
I know when you
that's-
laugh, I got it right.
I appreciate it because the book was so. If you read the book, there's a deeper thing going on where
yeah, I'm excited to read the book.
perhaps this guy is just lying.
Yeah.
And-
And when I read the book, I'll cast my own actors in it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's a
There you
point.
go.
There is a point. I mean, the book's not great because it is really this old man's confession, and who knows whether to believe him or not.
it's an unreliable narrator.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But that doesn't come across as much in the. And it could be that he's just taking newspaper accounts and telling these people that because one, he wants attention, and two,
Right.
he wants his daughter to think
Right.
there was a good reason he
yeah.
wasn't in her life and paying attention.
Right. Well,
But-
it's a good thing you just brought up Anne Paquin.
Yeah.
Why was she in this movie?
Well, see, I do have a thought on that
Please.
because this, and Scorsese could have changed this. He's a filmmaker; he has the power to do whatever. But in the book, this is about what a scumbag this guy is,
Right.
and he spent his life killing all these people, and his daughter was an afterthought that he only gets to when he's about to die,
Right.
And then he wants
My
it back in life.
problem is, why did you cast such a fantastic
Right.
actress who's had a great career, and I only gave her 3 lines?
Right.
I,
And I do think that's because that's how much like she mattered in this guy's life
It's
until
like
the
the
end.
That's not how much Anne
it's like a
Paquin matters
bro
to me.
movie.
Right.
like,
the gangsta bro movie where they're like,
yeah, exactly. It's a very
hey,
bro-ish movie.
yeah.
It's
That's
what it
The
is.
energy is like,
That's-
hey, that's the
what-
whole movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've
That's
seen
it.
this movie before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know like the storyline of it, but I was like, I don't really know if I'm gonna sit through this because
Right.
like I've seen it before.
Right, exactly.
I know
Is
how
it
this-
well directed? Yeah, Scorsese always directs well. Well, that's not true. I think that Scorsese didn't start getting good until Goodfellas, and then he peaked with Departed and Hugo. I think Hugo's an amazing movie, and then I think Hugo, Departed, and Shutter Island are his 3 best movies. Hate me if you want, film bros. Feel free to come at me at MK Plus Ultra on Twitter. Feel free.
MK Ultra, whoa.
MK Plus Ultra. It's 2 references. It's the reference to the MK. Huh? Yes, she got it. It's an anime. It's my
okay.
favorite anime. It's one of my favorite animes right now. It's called My Hero Academia. We don't have to talk about that right now. I just lost my train of thought.
Best.
Yeah, the best Scorsese directing.
Right. But for me, I just don't understand. Like this is the problem I have in general is like with these bigger prestige filmmakers. It feels like they can get away with a lot, but for me, is like if you're gonna cast an actress who doesn't have that, like again, my girlfriend said that it could have been that she wanted to be in a Scorsese film real bad, and you never know how many more chances you get at it, right? But for me, is like, why, dude? You're a great actress. You're in everything. Like, why are you in here?
Well, I do think she's like reassembling her career and trying to get more.
Really?
and
Because I mean, True Blood was super popular.
it
like-
was, but like the X-Men films also misused her and trashed her. And
Well,
left
I
her
mean,
sort of-
Brian Singer. Oh, let's
Right.
not talk about Brian Singer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I will go off. For those of you coming back, we just cut out a whole bit that we should not put on the air.
So anyway,
yes.
I thought Wolf of Wall Street was a disaster. And
Katie's in super thought right now. She's like, I can't believe that just got dropped on me.
I mean, yeah, that fires me up real good.
Yeah, it makes
But
me so mad.
But Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, let's talk about Wolf of Wall Street.
It's long.
well,
I
here's
don't
another thing
mind
that's
that
connected
movie.
to what we just cut out, but we can talk about without that hanging over us. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Why?
we like just talked about all of this with Joe.
You did? I didn't hear you guys talk about it on the,
Oh, did
on the
you?
podcast,
Yeah.
though. Did you?
Well, we talked about like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
All right,
and
so let's
Irishman,
talk
but-
about it.
Well,
but
I want to
these
hear.
are different conversations.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about it. Let's
but
feel free.
I appreciate, like, I think it's interesting that like everybody has like
different opinion.
Yeah, something to say.
I think I have the most controversial opinion.
Okay,
about
let's
Once Upon
go.
a Time in Hollywood is that
Let's
I did not
go.
like it.
Cool.
No, I don't think that's
And I
controversial.
think that part, and the other thing that happened with that movie, it broke it broke the glass on for me on Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like it feels like growing up, kind of like it feels like eventually like every film bro
Like you outgrew.
Quentin Tarantino, and that movie did it for me because I realized he's not a very good person. And that like you make excuses for a long time, and that was the movie that I was like, what?
Well, here's a film that actually, despite perhaps if you don't know your history, it's about a director who was abusive and
And a
accused of-
and a pedophile.
Oh,
right?
Raped
yeah.
a child
Yep.
and got away with it.
And
Fled the country, guys.
yeah,
Roman
Tarantino-
Polanski,
yep.
and then Tarantino the whole time was like,
He's
"He's a
not even
genius.
there."
He's a genius."
Yeah.
And then his fantasy is that old Hollywood somehow steps in and beats the hippies, and that's why
Right.
it's alternative history.
It is definitely that alternative history part I didn't care for. Because I just don't care about old Hollywood. Maybe he does. I don't get it.
Well, that's
it's fine. I think the movies are great.
How would he have a career if that hadn't happened?
Right.
If say old Hollywood and the old filmmaking
Right.
system continued, Tarantino would not be near a camera.
Right.
So the idea that he fetishizes it and thinks that
Right.
that's like,
Well, that's the thing is that Tarantino just fetishizes everything, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
makes me mad. He fetishized Margot Robbie in the whole movie.
And,
Yeah.
Like he fetishizes that whole
There's a weird
idea of
feet thing that's
yeah, like
happening.
Throughout all of his
He
movies.
fetishizes the
Right.
whole idea of like of Sharon Tate, and then Margaret Qualley, the
Yeah.
actress who plays
that was the most disturbing.
That
thing.
was weird. That was weird to be like show us like okay, he deliberately gave us a shot of like for lack of a better word, her ass, and then goes, "She's a child."
Yeah.
I'm like,
I had this discussion
Exactly.
with Richard Lovelace recently, and he's like, I still can't get out of my mind what the hell was he trying to say by Brad Pitt killing his wife by accident?
right
Yeah,
by
yeah,
accident.
Like-
Okay, what? It's not funny.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like if you're in a bad relationship, you're in a toxic relationship, get out of it. Don't murder somebody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That part really pissed me off.
And it's
But
like, oh, it's implied, and it's just like, no.
right.
It seems like
He
it's just
killed
like
the person.
Dudes getting away with things again and
And-
again and
then-
again and again.
Right, and then you say,
God
okay,
damn
great.
it.
You make a joke. People are like, oh, it's hilarious. He may have made to kill his wife. And then he, at the end of the movie, brutally murders.
Yeah.
I get it. They're not
Yeah,
good
yeah.
people, but he brutally murders
Well,
two
and that's
women.
that. The
Yeah.
end of it
Like-
is
Like the deaths of the women are
Yep.
way,
Way
worse than the
worse.
dude. The
And-
dude like gets his leg chomped, and
Right.
it's like, yo, yeah.
Right, and that exactly is what broke. It took the veil off of
Yep.
Quentin Tarantino. Because then
Absolutely.
I went back and watched his other movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, you can argue that he's cruel to everybody, but he's exceptionally cruel to women.
For sure.
Exceptionally.
Now that
Even
I'm like-
Kill Bill, like you can argue that Kill Bill is the most feminist. It's just the dude
Her
that he
suffering.
casted as a girl and then rewrote it. Like it's just his fantasy. Like it's his
Yeah.
fantasy woman. And not only that, he was terrible to Uma Thurman on set. He even caused her to have a back injury because he wouldn't. He refused to not let her be in a shot that a stunt woman should have been in. Like,
But yeah,
Yeah.
the idea that he solves
I can't support it.
the Tate murders by just having an orgy of violence against other women.
Right,
It's
like-
insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
he's. And every single person that watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the first thing they texted me is, "What did you think about Bruce Lee?" I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan.
So
Obviously.
bizarre.
I'm a
What
huge
even was
I wear
that?
this every single day. It's a Bruce Lee dog tag. It has a quote from Bruce Lee. I wear this is the only thing that I'll say about. Well, we can talk about it, but the Bruce Lee thing for
was
me
so weird.
I am fine with jokes about Bruce Lee's my hero. He's been my
Yeah.
hero for a long time. I love his philosophy. It's a reason why I'm a functional adult is because I learned everything from watching Bruce Lee movies and Samurai Jack, like to be a good person from that, right? To treat people with respect. I get it. People were very anxious to hear what I thought about it. I'm fine with people making fun of Bruce Lee. I'm fine with it. But the problem became that he was the only joke. Like Steve McQueen was a wife beater and a drug addict, a wife beater and an alcoholic, and all of a sudden he's just, I'm cool, Steve McQueen, man.
Yeah.
I wish I got the Sharon Tate first. Shut up. I'm fine. I'm a good sport about jokes. I really am. Like, and if they had made fun of everyone, if they had given everyone the same treatment,
and it seems so out
Right.
of place,
Right.
and then it was like, I don't really know that much about Bruce Lee, like
Yeah.
as a person. Like I know his movies, but
Yeah.
I was like, afterwards, I was like, was he that much of a douchebag?
No,
like
he
no,
wasn't.
like I don't think he was. And then
then
it was
he
like,
defended
and
it.
what's the point?
yeah, and then he defended it. He went on an interview. It was like, actually, people who said that I interviewed that know Bruce Lee said he was exactly like this. So I think I know Bruce Lee. I'm like, do you know him better than his daughter, than his wife, than all of his best friends that said that's not what Bruce Lee is like?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I mean,
And
what's
like
so
that
interesting-
whole scene was pointless,
Right.
really. Like when they're fighting, and
Right.
it's like, why?
it's
why-
only there to establish that Brad
that
Pitt
he
can
was
fight.
kicked, and like he was kicked off the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he can, I get it. I get like you show that he can fight, right? I get it. But like, did you have to make Bruce Lee the butt of the joke for it?
And he's a guy who had to dedicate so much of time to
Oh
break
my-
into Hollywood. to
Right.
actually
And
get
got his show
invitations.
stolen from him.
Yep.
He wrote a TV show, got stolen from him, got cast.
David
Like white guy.
Carradine,
David
who
Carradine got
happened to
cast
be
in it.
some of Tarantino movies.
Huh?
Who happened to be in a Tarantino.
Right, because that happened to be Bill and Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Like, you know the history. You know that this man died trying to become an actor. Like he worked so hard. He left. He like went bankrupt.
But that's
Obviously,
why
like
It seems like another attack on the corruption of old Hollywood, because
Right.
it's like you took the old white man. Like, there could have been a cowboy rather. I mean, that's just
Right.
like the whole thing. It's like it's these old.
Like, if
washed
you're
up
so obsessed with
actors.
old Hollywood,
Yeah.
then you know what happened to Bruce Lee. You know what he dealt with. You know that everyone in Hollywood was against him, and they're like a Chinese person in Hollywood? No way. And then he had to leave to China to become a star, and then Enter the Dragon was a fight to get made. He wrote it. He had starred in it. He fought every second he could, and then he died in the middle of Game of Death, and literally died. And then they just cast another Chinese guy, and they're like, we're gonna finish the movie. What? Like, this is what he went through. His life was not easy, and he died super young. Like and then you're gonna do that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, again, I can justify it if they had made every single person
Like,
based
kind
on
of
a
a
real
character
right? Like Roman
like-
Polanski can be like a goof, like whatever. I don't care. He only made one good movie, anyways. So let's not romanticize him at all. Rosemary's Baby is the only good movie he's made.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's a
Sorry,
lot.
like and then he. Did you guys watch French films at all? Like French New Wave movies, like Breathless. This is Breathless. He copied a French film.
yeah.
Like he basically what Tarantino did was he's had a huge boner for French New Wave films for the longest time. He's very open about it, and basically what he did was I tricked Sony into letting me make a big budget French New Wave movie with name actors, basically. Like, and French films they're very known for not being about anything.
Yeah.
Like they're just about people doing stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's all that. There's like 5 minutes of driving shots in this. Like, why? Like,
Yeah.
just like because that's what French films did. And like even the jump cuts, like there's a moment where
That
Timothy
are just
Olyphant.
like all of a sudden it's
But-
like I'm like, was that on purpose?
It
This is
was
so
because that's what
awkward.
French films did. They purposely put the jump cuts in there to let you like they're like we're gonna let the audience know they're still watching a movie, like because that's how pretentious the French were back then, you know, and then Tarantino, of course he likes it. Like, of course he got his dream project made, a movie about nothing,
Yeah.
and with a big budget that with great. Given the acting in the movie is incredible, everyone killed it. Rick Dalton
Love
was great.
that little
the
girl.
Yeah, the little girl was amazing.
Yeah, that was the scene.
Even
Yeah.
with the limited things that Margot Robbie got, she brought a real depth to the character. But again, she was just like laughing and dancing
She
the whole
didn't.
time.
I know. It was like the thing for me was like I
She's an
think in the
object.
trailer
Well, if you wanna talk
it
about
was
Anna
like oh like the
Paquin.
three of them are in
Right.
this movie together and I was like oh it's like Brad Pitt, Leo
and then
and Margot
Margot
Robbie.
Robbie.
And I'm like she doesn't even talk.
no, not even a little
She's
bit.
like oh and she's like in the background, this like
Right.
cutesy wife that has no idea what's going on, like fucking playing records and like
Dancing
eating
and
candy at the
smiling,
movies,
yeah.
and like, oh my god,
gosh, yeah.
yeah. I'm like,
Really?
what
That's
is she
what-
even doing?
Why
How
are
is
you in
she-
this, Margot?
Yeah.
Why did you do this movie? Cast any other actress. I get it. Like Margot Robbie is a brilliant. Like that mirror scene when she's putting on makeup haunts me. Like she's so good in that. She gets it.
Yeah, I saw it.
it's
It's
so
good.
good. And then she's okay. So she produced a TV show this year called Dollface. Have you guys seen Dollface? Dollface is wonderful. We're friends. Dollface is wonderful. She produced it, and then she plays like a weird little side character in it.
Yeah.
And even that small role, she killed it. Like this woman's a great actress. So why are we just like putting her on a pedestal, letting her just like and dancing everywhere? Like fucking use her. She's a great actress. Like I don't know. Like these are all the things. Again, that's like what I said is like when you take me out of a movie, you take me
Right,
out.
right.
And if you take me out, I'm gonna start like analyzing it. You know, I'm gonna start figuring out what I don't like about
Yeah.
the movie, and that's what it did. That movie constantly took me out of the movie. It's like it's so self-indulgent. It's just like.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with Tarantino. I don't want to see any of his movies anymore. I'm sorry. Like, even if I meet him someday, I'm not gonna hate the guy, but I'm just not gonna see his movies. Like, I'm just
Well, I was sort of set
Good
on
for
that.
him, you
I
know?
thought Django was a mess and tone deaf.
right.
And then
his best movies Inglourious Bastards, but even then,
That's-
it's super violent to women.
I'm one of the only
That's,
that's actually one of the things we definitely agree on, Glorious Bastards. But like Hateful Eight,
yeah,
what?
right. And when I rewatched that, I was like, what? Like, they are super bad. To like, I get it. Daisy's that's the thing is like he gets you to justify it, right? He gets you to go, no, but she's bad. Like then that's in itself a very toxic thing to do. Is like no, like he tries to convince you that these people are bad, so
Yeah.
he can do anything they want to them. Like in itself, it's I don't know if it's gaslighting or I don't know what it is, but it's something, right? It's programming people to go to blame. Like if like you do something wrong and then like it's programming people to go, well, she's wrong, so I can do whatever I want to them. It's like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. That's I think movies are important. I think movies are lessons for people. It definitely was for me. You know, they were you learn a lot, especially at a young age, from movies and the content you watch, right? And that dramatically changes. Like look at what the 90s did to women, right? In the 80s and 90s, women did not talk to each other in films, and look what it did to friendships. Like in the 90s and in the early 2000s, like
Charlie's
women thought that they had
Angels.
to compete with each other. They thought they had to fight with each other. Like, and then now look at the narratives that came out in 2010, like 2007 to 2015, like Bridesmaids and all those movies. And look how it's like those movies. You might not think about it, but they've literally changed the narrative on female friendships, right? Like people are a lot more open about being friends with each other. Like you can say what you want about movies, but these movies do make a significant impact on the way we treat people. You know, like Dollface. I love Dollface because it's about female friendship. It's about relationships and that, but it's about people like realizing that they can make mistakes and still be friends. You know, like that's important to me. Like that's what I try to do with a lot of my movies too, is just try to make real characters, even if they're action movies. Like I don't want people to be caricatures or like or props for what I think. I just want them to be real. Like I don't want ideas. Like I think movies should have ideas, but they shouldn't tell you the answer. Like they should pose questions, but they should never give you answers. They should let you come up with the answers. And I don't like movies that just like, here's the answer, because it's wrong. You know, like it's, I don't know. I don't know where I just like, I think about this a lot. Just like look at like the Bechdel test, right, is a very important
Right.
test, right? And like even the woman who made the Bechdel test was like, I did it as a joke, but I'm glad it became something, right?
Yeah.
She's like, it doesn't necessarily mean a movie's bad. It's just a conversation piece.
Yeah. It's like
Like-
making a point.
Right, exactly. Like it's making, and it made a very good point. And she did like when she like that to me is important. Like yeah, like she's on interviews and was like, it's not like a test for if a movie's good or not. Like her favorite movie is Stripes, but like it's still an important thing to talk about today.
Just explain a little bit about what the test is.
Oh, so it's basically like if you watch a movie, do two women talk to each other and do they talk about anything other than a man, right? And I think that's a super important thing because like if you go back to the 80s and 90s, like if two women talked, it was always usually fighting over a man. Like, or they're like, oh, let's talk about this. Like
Or
that.
like shaming each other about their
Right.
decisions about men. Like,
Right.
It was always
And think about that when you're a
like
young
sitcom television.
Yeah, exactly. When
Like,
you're a
really
kid and you
heavy.
watch that informs you
Yeah.
on how to talk to people and how to react when women want to be your friends. And a lot of those movies, they're written and directed by men, and most of the time the women want to be best friends with the men. Like this does shift brain chemistry. This does shift perspective and narrative. Narratives are important. Narratives are like how like the world operates. Really, like, we're a storytelling community of
Yeah.
beings, right? Like we came up with after fire, we came up with stories, and we came up with stories about the fire, right? Like that's who we are. We're wired to be that. You know, so like when we hear societal stories and narratives, I think that they need to change. You know, I think the Me Too movement did something really great, and I think that this is the best thing to come out of that movement is it got people to question: are we doing the right thing? Like it's not just like I understand a lot of people. There were a lot of victims in it, but like it started a real conversation with people. And you know, there's gonna be people who do it for the wrong reasons. Like there's already people in the industry who are like, it's female led and this. I'm like, it's a marketing point now.
Right, yeah.
But it shouldn't be. It should just be people being people. Like
No,
that.
I think it's about teaching empathy for people who have grown up in being told that it's all about you and winning and
Right.
and getting what you can and
Right.
hoarding
Which is why
wealth
I
and
loved
wins.
Hustlers.
Yeah.
And people did not go see that movie, and it's like they're not perfect people. And I love it when movies don't have perfect characters because I can relate to imperfect characters more than I can relate to heroes. You know, like that's probably what Scorsese means when he's like, I don't like Marvel movies. They're too perfect most of the time. Like like Iron Man was great because he was a horrible human being that had a transformation. But the problem right now, and this is just my personal opinion, is that we're still in Hollywood. There's still this idea that like they don't know what to do with women is what it comes down to. They don't because it's either they are perfect people or they're still love objects that are like The problem I have right now is that it's still that men are running the industry, right?
Yeah.
And I said this when I was in the film Albany. Were you there when I went on this huge rant about women in the industry and how we are terrible to them? It's hard for a person of color to make it in this industry, right? It's very hard. It's twice as hard or 3 times as hard for a woman to make it in this industry, and 10 times as hard if you're a woman of color. It's fucking hard in this industry for women, and we are fucking terrible to them in general. Like, for example, in this area alone, I said this at the Film Albany event, like, my girlfriend Victoria has worked on tons of film sets with people. People still call her Veronica. They don't even bother to learn her name. Like, and this is the other thing with narrative filmmaking in not just in this area, but in general in Hollywood, is that when I'm on set, if I'm making a movie, right, and I don't know the answer, I ask. I'm like, hey, I don't know what to do here. I'm insecure about this. Can you give me some opinions? My DP will be like, yeah, I got tons of ideas. Like, or my editor, or even a PA will come up and be like, I got tons of ideas for you. But if a female filmmaker did the same thing, they're gonna be like, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She doesn't. And the worst part is the more we do that, the more we go, hey girl, in the film industry, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. They're gonna start building up this shield. And they're going to think that they can't talk to people. And then what happens? You're a bitch. That's the fucking narrative in Hollywood right now, which is insane. Like, my girlfriend just made her first short film, and she goes, that was really easy. Like, is this what it's like? I'm like, no, it's not. I just assembled a crew of people that I knew would support you. And that's the biggest thing, is like, I knew that these people, if you don't have the answer, they're going to help you rather than go, I don't know, it's your film.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's the difference, is like, men are treated very differently in the film industry. Women are not given the space to fail, to make mistakes. And if they do make a mistake, they're not talked about again.
Yeah, it's like completely tarnished.
Right. Look at the woman who made American Psycho, one of the best movies of all time. What has she made afterwards?
Betty Page, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
yeah,
you got
bomb.
one.
No, I know. That's it.
Yeah. American Psycho is an amazing movie.
It's one of my favorite movies.
And then nobody talks about her anymore because she made a movie that criticized Men. Like, this is insane to me that we're still doing this. Sorry. So, like, anytime people put a mic in front of me, this is the biggest issue I have with this industry.
Well, it's funny because if you go back to, obviously not probably what Scorsese thinks is wrong with Marvel movies, but they're making a big deal because finally they've gotten 2 female, movies made, superhero movies, Captain Marvel.
Which they're...
And, yeah.
But Captain Marvel... Let's talk about Captain Marvel for a second. Because everyone keeps saying that it's a really great movie, and I disagree, and it's not for the reason that people think. It's because she's perfect. She's got no depth
you have nothing
to her.
You have nothing to worry about or root for.
Which is why I love the movie Hustlers, because none of them are perfect. They're all just people trying.
Yeah.
And that's what I respect. And like, if you had given Captain Marvel the same treatment you gave Iron Man, you would have made her a real hero. Show her struggling. Show her trying to be a hero. But even Superman has this problem. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys can feel free to chime in and I'll shut up. But like, even Superman has this problem, right? People are like, oh, I don't know what, like, people have trouble writing Superman movies because they're like, he's invincible, right? It's very simple. Superman's flaw is that he can't save everyone.
Yep.
That's his, he 24/7, this guy hears, help me, help me, help me, and he can't save everyone. That's the conflict. And he wants to be a real person. That's a human thing. All-Star Superman, the comic book, hit this so perfectly. We peaked with that comic book. It's a perfect Superman story. And we love it because he's not perfect. And he knows he's not perfect and he accepts it. Yeah. Like, and that's what I think these female superhero movies are missing. Like Diana and Wonder Woman, absolutely perfect the whole time. What? And it's not even her movie. Like, it's first of all written by a dude. Nobody talks about that. Yeah, Patty Jenkins directed it, but like, it's not her movie. She's not driving the story. Yeah. It's Chris Pine's character that's driving the entire movie. It's Chris Pine the movie.
It's like teaching her things.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't she? She's a fucking god. She knows everything about the world. She speaks all these languages, and she also doesn't know about sex. What the fuck? Like, yeah. Like she's there's so many conflicts I have with that movie because it's a movie you wanted me to believe that she knew nothing about the world. Like, she doesn't know who Germany is, but she can speak German. Like, you have to know context about the country. So I have tons of critiques about Wonder Woman, but I wish I didn't. I don't want to critique movies like this because I wanted Wonder Woman to be an amazing movie because I love the comic book. And I think that she's super well written. And like, one of the reasons why she falls in love with Steve, Chris Pine's character, is because she realizes that men aren't dicks. Like, she's like, oh, men can be heroes. Like, the whole conflict is that she's like, I'm an Amazonian. We're the best warriors. We're the greatest heroes. And then she meets Chris Pine, and this human being is like sacrificing his life for people. And she goes, maybe they're not bad. And that's like, that's her. Like, she's like, that's why she falls. Not because it's the first dick she saw. Yeah. Like, that's like the only reason she falls in love with him is like, oh, I saw him naked. Okay, cool. Man. I'm like, sorry. But Wonder Woman is like a whole, like,
but I think the largest issue that's exposed by this whole superhero experiment and the success is the idea that you have, what's his name, who controls all of the movies and does every little thing. Yeah, and he's had to fight against Perlmutter. Against Perlmutter, who is this rich billionaire who owned, a huge investor in Disney, who is essentially a white nationalist. And
I know any of
I mean, they've had this huge conflict, and so now finally, because Kevin Feige has made so much money for them, they've moved Perlmutter out of control of the films. But it just exposed the fact that Disney has this guy inside who's been pushing against diversity. Like he said specifically in the news, I don't want that sort of stuff in my movies. So now, it's because he's shown that they can make money by having characters who are black or female, they're moving him into a different realm where he doesn't have control over him. But it's making it very clear what it's about.
That's the problem I have with Disney in general right now, is that they're not doing it to be progressive. They're doing it to get your money.
To sell action figures. And that's the difference, though, between Scorsese, who, yes, it's like a nerdy recounting of all these famous mob figures, but he's not selling action figures, and he's not selling video games, and he's not selling, and every choice he makes about them isn't overseen by marketing, and that's the difference. Is there's so much invested in everything that these superheroes do because Disney stands to lose or gain a lot of money depending on each little decision, and
I that's why I want to like Marvel movies. I don't want to be the stick in the mud. Like, I don't want to be that
Yeah.
guy. But I can't get behind things that sell me a narrative. Just show me a good narrative. Like, I don't want to be told that something's feminist. Show me that it is. Show me that you care. Don't sell me that you care. Like, then that's the biggest conflict that I've had, is that these companies, they sell these things as ideas, right? So if you sell a movie as a feminist idea, all of a sudden, if you're against it, you're not anti-feminist, right? And that's what they're banking on. These marketing people are smart. They know that if you fight an idea, you're gonna get backlash, right? And even like this might be conspiracy theory-esque, but that's what I believe. I think these marketing people are super
I think
smart.
that's super fair.
Like, and and then movies like Hustlers, which I thought was one of the best movies I saw this year, with imperfect characters just trying as hard as they can to live, went under the radar. And then got snubbed at the Golden Globes. Probably gonna get snubbed at the Oscars too. Let's be honest here. And I thought it was one of the best movies I saw this year.
Did you see? What was it last night? I think I saw that the director of the sort of, God, I can't even remember the name of the movie.
Describe it.
Well, it's the remake of like Bonnie and Clyde, but
Queen and Slim.
Queen and Slim. Yeah, said that that Golden Globes voters wouldn't even watch the movie
Why?
because they didn't like the anti-cop.
Oh,
All right,
Jesus.
I get it. I get the anti-cop thing. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and blame every cop like for being a bad person, but there is an alarming amount of people that are like, with any industry, right? Like, it's any industry, you're gonna have good people and bad people are always gonna get more attention, right? But like, don't make that an excuse to not go see a movie about it. Like,
I think it's also about the argument about how you defend that,
And like
that you wrap each other in the.
there are so many movies where like people kill cops.
right.
And
right.
get away with it,
Yeah.
and they're still
All of
seen
a
as
sudden-
like this like renegade, like
Yeah.
whatever.
All of a sudden, you're watching a movie about two black people killing a cop, and all of a sudden, it's a political.
Yeah.
It's a political movie. I get it. It's but don't pretend like that's like.
Like this is the first time you're seeing
Right. Like,
it's
we
not.
just had To Hell or High Water come out. To Hell. Do you guys remember that? Because every white boy I know loves that movie.
No.
It's the worst movie. I'm sorry. I really wish I could let this go, but this movie's not good. And they straight up kill a Native American cop in it, but you didn't hear anything about that. Like, what? Don't pretend like this is a narrative that you're not averse to. Like,
Right.
go see the movie if you want to go see a
Well,
fucking
if Bruce
movie,
Willis
and
is
then
killing cops to break out of prison, or if,
Right.
whatever it is, that's a narrative. That,
right. But this is the problem. Is like this is the problem with this industry. Is as soon as a colored person gets behind something or a woman gets behind something, it's now a political move, right? Like, it's like when I get like when I make movies in the future, right? Like, they're not gonna say Micah Khan, the American filmmaker. They're gonna say Micah Khan, the Pakistani director. Like, that's the thing. Is like, I don't want to be I'm American, 100%, born and raised in Brooklyn. There's no getting, like, I'm not gonna go to Pakistan. Sorry, like, I'm not Pakistani. I'm American. Like, but like, that's the box people want to put you in because they want you to serve their narrative.
Yeah.
Well, they want to serve you.
Right.
They want you to serve a purpose.
Right.
They're like checking
it,
off
yeah.
something
Right,
on the list.
exactly.
They're like, got that one.
Right. And I'm sure you experience this a lot, like, especially because you're into journalism and media, and like, how many times have people come at you like that? Like,
What's it like to?
right,
a
exactly.
woman?
What's it like to be a female with blue eyes in the industry? Callback.
Well, we should wrap it up because
We
we're
shouldn't.
going to run
We
out
should
of
keep going.
memory. But you have big stuff coming next year,
Yeah.
so
I'm
I'd
excited.
hope you come back to talk to us about it.
I would love to.
And,
If you don't mind,
Yeah.
there's a couple things I'd like to mention. If there's any filmmakers watching, if you guys are looking for any advice, there's a great podcast out there called Soundstage Access that a buddy of mine, Brando, puts together, where he interviews not just directors and writers, but production designers, makeup artists, everyone in the film industry. And he gives you a very in-depth look at what people do and how they do their jobs. And then there's two Twitter accounts you should follow if you want to be a writer or a director. C. Robert Cargill, the writer of Sinister and Doctor Strange, has great advice on writing on his Twitter page, and so does Chris McQuarrie on filmmaking. Chris McQuarrie is the director of Mission Impossible Fallout. And then lastly, if you're looking to get into producing, Producer's Guide with Todd Garner is a great podcast for people who want to learn what producers actually do. So there you go. There's advice for your audience.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And thank you so much for inviting me. I had a really great time, and I wish can we do this again soon? This was fun.
I'd like to just have you on after you watch the next episode of Watchmen. So.
Oh my god, we should do a Watchmen wrap up. Talk about Watchmen, and then you got to watch Irishman and tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Now
It's
that-
only 3.5 hours.
It's only 3.5 hours of your life you're never gonna get back.
We'll do it.
And then we should all go see Little Women when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig. Let's go see it.
Great.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.